So, I guess this is the part where I ask, am I the bad guy? But honestly, I don't feel bad. Not even a little. Growing up, my parents made it very clear that I was only valuable as long as I was useful to them. I was the responsible one. The kid who always took care of things while my younger brother, Liam, was treated like royalty. If he failed a test, my fault for not tutoring him. If he crashed his car, my fault for not reminding him to check his brakes. If he wasted all his money on gambling, guess who was expected to bail him out? I tried to break free. I really did. But every time I saved up enough to move out, something mysterious happened. Like my dad suddenly needing help paying bills, or my mom guilting me with, "How could you abandon your family?" They always kept me trapped just enough to keep control. Then, last year, I got a job offer out of state. A damn good one. When I told them I was moving, my dad laughed in my face. "You? On your own? Good luck with that. You'll be back in a month." My mom smirked. "You're nothing without us. Don't come crying when you fail." Liam just shrugged. "Guess I get your room then." So, I left. And guess what? I didn't fail. I thrived. I got my own apartment, made friends, and for the first time in my life, I could breathe. No one was draining my bank account. No one was calling me at 2 a.m. for emergencies that were actually just my dad losing a poker bet. No one was making me feel like I owed them my entire existence. For 6 months, I didn't hear a word from them. Then, last week, I got a text from Liam, "Hey, Mom and Dad need you. Call ASAP." I ignored it. Then another message. And another. Until finally, my mom called me herself. "We need to talk." I let her voice go to voicemail. Then my dad tried. And Liam. And suddenly, I had 14 missed calls. Then Liam sent the text that almost made me laugh out loud. "If you don't help, you're literally ruining this family." Ruining the family? Me? Now I was curious. So I finally picked up the phone. "What do you want?" I said, keeping my voice cold. Dumb. My mother's voice was shaky. Not angry, not demanding, but desperate. "Sweetheart, your father lost his job. We're in trouble. The house, we might lose it. We need you to come back and help us." Oh. The same people who laughed at me, mocked me, and told me I was nothing without them. The same people who did everything to keep me from leaving. Now they needed me. And they had no idea what I was about to do next. I let the silence stretch. My mother was never one to beg, not outright. She liked to manipulate, guilt trip, twist things around so that you felt bad even when she was the one at fault. But this time, her voice was raw. Unsteadied, I could hear my dad in the background, muttering something, probably telling her to fix this, to make me feel like I had no choice but to come back and save them. "We just need a little help," she continued, her voice turning syrupy sweet. "A few months, maybe, just until we get back on our feet." I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. A few months? Right. And then a few more. And then they'd find a way to keep me trapped all over again. "So let me get this straight," I said slowly, making sure every word hit. "You guys threw me out like garbage, told me I was nothing without you. And now that you're in trouble, I'm suddenly worth something again?" Silence. Then, my father's voice cut through the phone. Sharp. Impatient. "This isn't the time for a pity party," he snapped. "We're family. Families take care of each other." "Oh, that's rich. You mean like how you took care of me?" I shot back. "By making sure I was stuck paying for everything while Liam got to screw around? By treating me like a walking ATM?" Liam scoffed in the background. "Don't be so dramatic. You're making money now, aren't you? What's a few thousand to help out your family?" "A few thousand? A few thousand." I almost laughed. They weren't asking for a loan. They wanted me to move back, pay their bills, save the house, and keep Liam from facing any consequences. They hadn't changed. They weren't sorry. They just needed me to clean up their mess. My mom sighed, like I was the one being difficult. "Look, we don't have time for this back and forth. The bank is threatening foreclosure. We just need you to come home and do the right thing." I sat up straight. My heart pounded, but I kept my voice calm. "And if I say no?" A long pause. Then my dad's voice dropped into that low, dangerous tone I knew too well. The one he used right before things got ugly. "Then don't bother calling yourself our son anymore." And there it was. The ultimatum. My fingers clenched around my phone. They were threatening to cut me off? After everything they'd already done? I took a slow breath. And then, finally, I said. All right, I said, keeping my voice calm. I guess that's it then. My mother sucked in a sharp breath. Wait, click. I hung up. Then I turned off my phone. For the first time in my life, I felt completely free. No guilt, no obligation, no more being their backup plan. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Not yet. And I was right. The next morning, I woke up to a flood of messages. Not just from my parents and Liam, but from relatives, some I hadn't heard from in years. Aunt Carla, I don't know what's going on, but your parents are devastated. Just talk to them. Uncle Mike, family is family. You can't just abandon them like this. Cousin Jessica, I get that you're upset, but they need you right now. You should at least listen. I groaned, rubbing my temples. They were doing it again, spinning the story, making me look like the villain while they played the victims. Then, I saw Liam's latest text. Mom's been crying all morning. Hope you're happy, asshole. I rolled my eyes. Right. Like I was supposed to believe that. Still, I was curious. Just how bad was it? So I checked my parents' Facebook pages. And that's when I saw it, a long, dramatic post from my mother, talking about how their ungrateful son had abandoned them in their time of need. How they had sacrificed everything to raise me, only for me to turn my back on them when they needed me most. And of course, there were dozens of comments. How could he do that to his own parents? Kids these days have no respect. So sorry you're dealing with this. Stay strong. I exhaled slowly, gripping my phone tighter. They really thought they could guilt-trip me through social media? They really thought I'd come crawling back because of a few pity likes. That's when I made my decision. I wasn't just going to ignore them. I was going to teach them a lesson they'd never forget. I stared at the post, my fingers twitching over my phone. I could ignore it. I could block them all, move on, and let them drown in their own mess. But then I thought about all the years they'd used me. All the times they made me feel like I wasn't enough, like I was only valuable when I was paying for their crap. And now, when I finally broke free, they were trying to ruin my name just to save their own skin. Fine, if they wanted to drag me into this publicly, I'd respond publicly. I took a deep breath, then typed out my reply. Funny how none of you were there when I was struggling to pay rent because my loving parents drained my bank account, or when they told me I was nothing without them and kicked me out with nothing. But now that they need money, suddenly family is family, huh? I hit send, and the effect was instant. Within minutes, my notifications exploded. Some of my relatives went quiet. A few even deleted their comments. But others? Oh, they were mad. Uncle Mike said, "That's not what your parents told us." Aunt Carla said, "This is a private family matter. You shouldn't air dirty laundry online." Oh, but they could. I wasn't done. I went all in. I posted screenshots. Bank transfers where they took money from me. Texts where my dad called me a selfish little SHD, asterisk for refusing to pay Liam's debts. Messages where my mom admitted she and my dad lied to the family to make themselves look better. And then, for the final blow, I wrote, "I'm not abandoning my family. I'm just refusing to be their ATM. If anyone thinks I should help them out, feel free to send them your own money. Let me know how that goes." Then, I logged out. I expected more calls, more texts, more rage. What I didn't expect was what happened next. Because a few hours later, I got a message from Liam. Just 2 words, "You win?" I stared at the message. Liam? Admitting defeat? Something wasn't adding up. I debated ignoring him, but curiosity got the best of me. So I typed back, "What are you talking about?" A few minutes passed before the typing bubble appeared. Then, Liam texted, "They're done?" Mom's freaking out. Dad won't stop yelling. "You really did it this time." I leaned back, feeling that first satisfaction settle in. Good. But I still wanted to know why. Explain. Liam hesitated. Then, finally, he spilled everything. Turns out, my post didn't just humiliate them. It exposed them. Hard. See, my parents had spent years lying to the family. They always painted themselves as the generous, selfless couple who had given me everything. They had borrowed money, guilt-tripped relatives, even scammed a few people with sob stories. But now, the truth was out. Relatives were pissed. Some were calling them out directly in the comments. Others demanded their money back, and apparently, one of my dad's old business partners saw the post too. And that's when everything fell apart. "Liam, you don't get it. Dad owes money to some people he shouldn't have messed with. They saw your post. They know he's broke now. Oh, oh, now it made sense. This wasn't just family drama anymore. My parents were in real trouble, and now, the same people who always told me I was nothing without them, they were begging for my help. Liam, they need money. Fast. Mom said to ask you. Just something to hold them over. I let out a low laugh. Now they needed me. I took my time before responding. Tell Mom and Dad one thing for me. Liam, what? I smirked as I typed my next message. I guess they'll have to crawl. Liam didn't respond for a while. I figured he was probably trying to figure out if I was joking, or if I had actually lost it. I didn't care. I had finally taken control of the situation, and now it was my turn to play the game. But as the day dragged on, the calls kept coming. They were relentless. Mom was calling. Dad was calling. Even Uncle Mike and Aunt Carla got in on the act. I ignored every single one. I had a feeling if I picked up, they'd pull the same old tricks, the guilt, the manipulation, the fake tears. But this time I was smarter. I wouldn't fall for it. Not anymore. Then, late in the evening, I got a new message. It was from Liam again. They're saying they're about to lose the house? I scoffed. Was that supposed to shock me? And, Liam, I'm not asking for me, but you know what that means, right? They're not gonna back down. They'll do anything to make you help. I closed my eyes for a moment, taking it all in. They were really that far gone. And yet, all I could feel was anger. The fact that they had put me in this position in the first place. They thought they could use me as a safety net, as some kind of ATM that would just keep giving. And now, they wanted me to bail them out after they had been nothing but cruel for so long. After they'd treated me like a doormat. They weren't just asking for help. They were demanding it. I stared at my phone screen for a long time before typing out my response. I don't owe you anything anymore. I paused. Was I being too harsh? Was I letting the revenge cloud my judgment? But then, I thought about all the times I had been there for them. All the times I had sacrificed my own well-being just to keep them happy. No, I wasn't being too harsh, and as I hit send, I could almost feel the weight lift off my shoulders. But the next message from Liam. Mom says she's not going to make it without you. They're on the verge of bankruptcy. Please, just talk to them. I clenched my fist. They were desperate, and now I knew exactly how to make them pay. I wasn't just going to leave them hanging. I was going to make them feel what they put me through. But I needed something bigger, something that would make sure they never pulled this stunt again. I started brainstorming. That's when an idea hit me. I sat there in the dim light of my room, my mind racing. What was the perfect way to make them feel the consequences of their actions? I wasn't just going to toss them a few bucks and let them off the hook. No, this needed to be bigger, more permanent. I thought about it for a while, how I could hit them where it would hurt the most. And then, the idea hit me. The perfect way to make them pay without them even realizing it until it was too late. I took a deep breath and fired off a message to Liam. I'm going to take a break. Don't contact me for a while. You'll understand later. I knew that would buy me some time. Time to get everything in motion. Then, I called in a favor from someone I'd been quietly keeping in touch with. My old lawyer. I explained everything. The manipulation, the emotional abuse, and how they'd been trying to drag me back into their mess. He knew exactly how to handle it. I could already imagine their faces when they found out I wasn't just some helpless cash cow anymore. It was time to get them tangled in their own lies. I wasn't going to just walk away. I was going to leave a mark. I spent the next couple of days gathering everything I could. Texts, bank records, old emails from when they'd asked for help and promised they'd pay me back. They never did. I was ready to take legal action if it came to that, but for now, I wanted them to know that everything they'd done was about to be exposed. The first piece of the puzzle was in motion, but there was still one thing left to do. I needed to go back to the family chat. It was time to show them who was really in control. I opened the group chat, where they had all been arguing about how I was ruining the family. It was mostly messages from my mom, guilt-tripping me for abandoning them. I scrolled through the endless messages and finally, I told them, I'm not going to help you. I'm going to make sure the whole family knows the truth about everything you've done. I have the proof. You're going to be the ones begging for forgiveness after this. I felt a rush of power as I sent the message. It was cold, calculated, but it felt right. The responses came flooding and almost immediately Mom said, "You can't do this. You're going to ruin us." Dad added, "You think anyone will believe you over us?" Uncle Mike said, "Stop this nonsense. You're just causing chaos." But this time, I wasn't backing down. They had crossed the line. They thought they could control me forever, that I would always be the one to clean up their messes. Now it was my turn to turn the tables. I watched as the messages grew more frantic. But I was done being the scapegoat, the pawn in their game. I didn't need to say another word. I already knew how this was going to play out. They had no idea what was coming. I opened up the folder on my computer, full of everything I'd gathered over the last few days. Emails from them begging for money over the years, each one more dramatic than the last. Bank records showing how they had squandered the money I'd given them, and how they'd always promised to pay it back but never did. Texts where they'd manipulated me, gaslighting me into thinking I was the problem for wanting to live my own life. I carefully crafted a message, attaching the evidence like I was handing them their fate on a silver platter. I didn't hesitate. I sent it. Here's the truth, for everyone to see. I've kept quiet all these years while you used me, lied to me, and used everyone in the family for your benefit. Here's the evidence. Everyone deserves to know who you really are. I attached the files and hit send. The family chat exploded. Uncle Mike said, "This is a joke, right? Are you really going to do this? Do you have any idea what you're doing to this family?" Aunt Carla said, "You're a disgrace. This isn't how a family should act. You've gone too far." But the real kicker? It wasn't just my immediate family who saw it. I'd also sent it to some of the relatives they'd borrowed money from over the years, the ones they'd manipulated with their sad stories. One by one, the messages from them started pouring in. Cousin Sarah texted, "I had no idea they were doing this. I trusted them. I thought they were struggling, but this is outrageous." Uncle John texted, "I should have known. They always promised to pay me back, and they never did. Thanks for the heads up. This is unbelievable." And then came the phone calls. Mom told me, "You've ruined everything. They'll all turn against us because of what you've done. You're destroying the family." I wasn't listening anymore. Every call, every message, every desperate plea only made me stronger. Dad's voice came through the phone, shaking with anger and fear. "You're never going to get away with this. You think you're in control, but you're just making a fool of yourself." I didn't even respond. I just hung up. I could feel the power shift. The same parents who had once looked down on me, who had told me I was nothing without them, were now begging me to take it all back, to undo everything I had exposed. But I wasn't going to do that. This was just the beginning. I started to draft a post on social media, explaining how I was cutting ties for good, making sure to include all the evidence I had so everyone could see for themselves what kind of people they truly were. I was going to make sure they could never manipulate anyone again. IT wasn't just about getting revenge anymore. It was about breaking free. I was done being the victim. I was done being the one they used. The storm had passed, and the aftermath was something I'd never forget. After I exposed everything, the family was left in shambles. My parents' carefully constructed image of being the hardworking couple who just needed a little help was gone. Everyone who had ever been manipulated by them finally saw the truth. The first few days after I sent the messages were the hardest. The phone calls didn't stop. My mom called me crying, begging for forgiveness. She kept repeating, "We're family. We've always been there for you." But I could hear the desperation in her voice. I stayed silent, letting her words hang in the air. Realizing how hollow they were now, I ignored it all. Every message, every call, every tearful plea. Then, the most shocking thing happened. Why Dad reached out. But this time, it wasn't to berate me. He sent a text that read, "I'm sorry. I see it now. Everything you said was right. I was wrong. You don't owe us anything." At that moment, it hit me. They were broken. Their power over me had completely crumbled. They realized, maybe for the first time, that I didn't need them, and that I wasn't just a tool to be used. I didn't respond to him immediately. I wasn't ready to offer forgiveness. Instead, I focused on the people who actually mattered. I reconnected with the relatives who had reached out, who had stood by me, who had finally opened their eyes. I rebuilt relationships with the people who genuinely cared. It was clear that this was the turning point. I had let go of the toxic weight they had forced me to carry. I was free, and I wasn't going back. Eventually, I did send a final message to my parents. "I'm done. I'm not coming back. I won't fix what was broken, because it's too late for that. But I hope you both get the help you need." I blocked their numbers. I cut ties completely. Weeks went by, and the peace I had felt slowly turned into something even better. A sense of empowerment. No longer bound by guilt or their manipulation, I could finally focus on my own life. I even began to thrive in ways I'd never imagined. Then, out of the blue, I received a letter in the mail. It was from Ideadid. It was brief, but to the point. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know I'm sorry. I've started to see things more clearly. If you ever want to talk, I'll be here. I'm working on myself. I read the letter a few times, feeling a mix of emotions. But I knew one thing for sure. This was the end of it. I wasn't going to waste my time on apologies. They had made their choices, and now they were going to live with the consequences. I put the letter away and moved on, because, at the end of the day, I didn't need them to define me anymore. The power was mine now, and it felt damn good. What do you think? Was it the right call to cut ties completely, or should I have tried to work things out? Drop your thoughts below.